Dobry wieczór. Witajcie na spotkaniowym podsumowaniu Polski i Irlandzkiej wiadomości zemne. William Murphy. Headlines in Poland over the past week have included a major rupture in Polish-Israeli relations after remarks by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on collaboration with the Nazis, remarks about Poles and anti-Semitism by the acting Israeli Foreign Minister further inflamed tensions, US Vice President Mike Pence visits the Auschwitz-Birkenau death camp, and former Prime Minister Jan Olszewski is laid to rest in Warszawa. News developments in Ireland have included Fine Gael's support is unchanged at 30% in a weekend opinion poll, despite health controversies, as the Dáil rejects a motion of no confidence in Simon Harris. BAM are angry over the Taoiseach's Dáil remarks on low-balling contractors and offers to exit the National Children's Hospital project. The Cabinet approves the omnibus Brexit bill for a no-deal scenario, and Fianna Fáil select former TD Barry Andrews as their Dublin European Parliament election candidate. Zacznając od Polski wiadomości. Political developments have been dominated over the past week by angry recriminations between the Polish and Israeli governments over remarks by both the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the acting Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz, which the Polish government has viewed as an insult to Poland. During the conference on Middle East security in Warszawa, Netanyahu, who himself is in the middle of a re-election campaign, made comments which were taken as suggesting the Polish nation was complicit in the Holocaust, according to a story in last Thursday's Jerusalem Post. Netanyahu's office subsequently clarified that he spoke of Poles and not the Polish people or the country of Poland. This was misquoted and misrepresented in press reports, and was subsequently corrected by the journalist who issued the initial statement. That clarification looked to have repaired the damage to some extent, with Prime Minister Morawiecki saying, in fact, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke only of individual cases of collaborators. However, it was all undone by remarks by the acting Israeli Foreign Minister Israel Katz, who, in what would be a truly outrageous statement, reportedly claimed that Poles suckled anti-Semitism with their mother's milk. He also accused many Poles of collaborating with the Nazis. Morawiecki responded on Monday, describing the remarks as reprehensible, unacceptable and simply racist. Following Netanyahu's reported remarks, Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki announced that he would not take part in the planned summit meeting of the four-nation Visegrad group comprising Poland, Hungary, the Czech Republic and Slovakia in Jerusalem, planned for Monday and Tuesday. After the remarks by the Israeli Foreign Minister, the attendance of Foreign Minister Jacek Czaputowicz from the gathering in Israel was also pulled, and the summit meeting was abandoned. On Wednesday, the US Ambassador to Poland, Georgette Mosbacher, said that the Israeli Foreign Minister should apologise for his remarks. Both Poland and the State of Israel have very painful histories, but have been among the strongest defenders of freedom and democracy in recent decades. The bitter falling out between the two of them, both close US allies, is highly unfortunate, and fences will hopefully soon be mended. Last Friday, US Vice President Mike Pence visited the former Nazi Auschwitz-Birkenau death camp in southern Poland, where more than 1.1 million people died. He was accompanied by President Andrzej Duda. The visit came a day after the ending of the major international conference on the Middle East held in Warszawa, which Pence was in Poland to attend. On Saturday, the funeral took place in Warszawa of former Prime Minister Jan Olszewski, who died at the age of 88 on February the 7th. Holy Mass was celebrated at the John the Baptist Archcathedral, after which he was laid to rest at the Pawłowski Cemetery. President Duda and top political leaders from the past and present were in attendance, as was his close friend, the former Defence Minister Antoni Macierewicz. Jeśli chodzi o Irlandzkie wiadomości. It's been another week where health has been at the centre of the political debate, with Minister Simon Harris facing a Sinn Féin proposed motion of no confidence in the Dáil on Wednesday evening. He comfortably survived the vote by 58 votes to 53, with Fianna Fáil abstaining, in line with their confidence and supply arrangement with the government. The motion centred on Harris's alleged mishandling of the huge cost overrun at the National Children's Hospital. Sinn Féin will have viewed the motion as a way of prolonging the political heat on the minister and the government, and, just as importantly from their viewpoint, highlighting the powerlessness of Fianna Fáil to enforce ministerial accountability. However, Fianna Fáil finance spokesman Michael McGrath hit back hard at Sinn Féin, saying that bringing down the government at this stage of the Brexit process would amount to what he termed national sabotage. Taoiseach Leo Varadkar and fellow ministers strongly defended Harris in the debate. But this controversy and the perception of a lack of active management it leaves may well have done the minister's political career lasting damage. At the weekend, the main contractor for the National Children's Hospital project, BAM, offered to withdraw from the project and facilitate the whole project being retendered if that was the route the hospital board wished to go. That statement looks to have been in response to feeling blamed for the overrun. It is certainly known the contractor was furious at the Taoiseach's Dáil remarks last week about not wanting to see some unnamed contractors awarded the public sector contract again, and accusing some contractors of deliberately lowballing on price to win business with subsequent large cost overruns. BAM sought reassurance the Taoiseach wasn't referring to them. All a government spokesperson would say was that the Taoiseach hadn't named any specific contractor. The government looks highly unlikely to avail of the offer to retender. There appears to have been no immediate significant political fallout for the popularity of the government, at least according to a weekend political opinion poll for the Sunday Times. It showed support for Fine Gael unchanged at 30%, with Fianna Fáil 4 points behind on 26%. Despite their recent high political profile, Sinn Féin dropped 2% to 18%. Labour were up 1% to a still dismal 5%, with the Greens, Independent Alliance and Solidarity, People Before Profit, all on 2%. On Tuesday, the Cabinet approved their omnibus Brexit bill, designed to make the key legislative changes required to deal with a hard Brexit scenario. The bill will be published on Friday, and the plan is for it to be enacted by March 15th and signed into law by President Higgins just before the March 29th Brexit date. Of course, the government's hope remains that a UK Brexit withdrawal deal will be reached prior to then, which negates the need for such legislation as we enter into the transition phase, or there is a delay to Brexit. With the Brexit process likely to be moving towards some form of conclusion by the end of March, even if that outcome involves a temporary extension, the National Children's Hospital overrun affair increases the odds on a general election sooner rather than later, despite Fianna Fáil's commitment, so far, to support the government through another budget. The frustration in Fianna Fáil at their current position must surely be growing, as was reflected in the contribution to the no confidence debate by the Carlow Kilkenny TD John McGuinness. We will of course certainly have the European and local elections in May. Last Sunday, Fianna Fáil held their selection convention for the Dublin European Parliament constituency, where they currently hold no seat. Delegates selected Barry Andrews, the former Dún Laoghaire TD and Minister of State for Children in the ill-fated Brian Cowan government, as their candidate, ahead of fellow former TDs and ministers Mary Hanafin and Conor Lenihan, as well as the gay rights activist Tiernan Brady. Subsequent to losing his Dáil seat in 2011, Barry Andrews served as CEO of the charity Goal and is currently Director General of the Institute of International and European Affairs. With the Dublin Euro constituency due to increase from 3 to 4 seats, thanks to the 2 additional seats Ireland has been allocated due to the UK leaving the European Union, Fianna Fáil must have a very strong chance of regaining a European Parliament seat in the capital. One possible issue for the European elections was addressed by Taoiseach Leo Varadkar during the week, who warned that if Brexit is delayed and the UK is forced to elect MEPs, then the seat increase by 2 to 13 for Ireland may be delayed, with the last 2 candidates deemed elected in Dublin and Ireland South not being eligible to take their seats until after Brexit is enacted. A very strange possibility indeed. To end with a very good news story, a family syndicate from Naul, County Dublin, were the winners of Tuesday night's Euro Millions jackpot for a massive €175.4 million. Tavshesko Nachan Chidgen, Zaprasham na Koleni, Potsam Mavanya, sa Chidgen o Tisame Proje. The Brannet.